Welcome. Today we'll cut an overlap or a wrap dress. So how I got this piece of fabric is that I did 40 divided by 2. That's my bust measurement. 40 divided by 2 plus 10 inches, allowance. Then plus my 4 inches sewing allowance. This 10 inches, I will show you why we have it. It's for this fold here. Now I folded this part by 5 inches. This 5 inches is for the front and for the back. That's why I have 10 inches and all. So I will now take my neck measurement. Folded this part by 5 inches at most. You can even use as much as 7. It depends on what you want. But I'm using 5 for this part. Now I'm just marking my neck. I marked the neck width of 3 and I marked the neck depth of 6. You can use as much as 7 as well. It's just going to, you can wear it with a camisole or any one. So I'm marking my shoulder now. See the place I marked my shoulder? I marked it after the fold. And then at that point, I'll mark 8.5. Please, look at the way I folded this material. I folded into 2 first before I folded into this part as if I'm cutting a bustier. Okay. So if you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe to my channel and tap that bell. By turning on your notification bell, you'll be notified every time I upload a video. So at this point, I'll be curving with my armhole curve. And I marked the normal armhole. This is for the front alone. So I'll just curve and then come out by 1/2 inch, so that I will make the normal curve for the front part of my armhole. So I'm just coming out by 1/2 inch. I'm marking my 1/2 inch so I can place the armhole curve and mark at that point. So that's it. That's what I'm doing now. I'm marking the armhole on the 1/2 inch. Okay. So that being said, I'm going to place emphasis again on this fold. This fold is very important, especially if you are interested in doing an overlap like this. The other method, but this one is simple and direct. So now what I'm marking now is 1/2 inch for my shoulder slant. I just went in under my armhole by 1/2 inch and then I slanted upward towards my neck. So the rest of my body measurement is what I'm taking now. I have 10 as my bust plus my 2 inches sewing allowance. I have 12. Then I did the same thing for my waist, or my half length rather. So I'm going to be closing up. So at this point, you can put your darts. After you have already done everything, you can put your darts if you want a dart. So I'm going to be cutting this just like this now. I'm cutting my neck first, then I went to cut my shoulder slant, then down to my armhole, then down. Okay, look at the way I folded this material. I'm going to be opening it. You see the way it looks now? It looks like a round neck that was not done properly. But that's it. Once you get this irregular round neck, because you see one side of the round neck is looking bigger, at this point just know that you have got it right. You are halfway done. So I'll be placing my rule from down my neck. If you have a longer ruler, you can place it from your shoulder, but I just placed it from where I have my straight line, and then I just cut it. And that's all. I'll just open this thing now. This thing I see now is done. So I'll be notching this part where I want my overlapping to meet where I'll be sewing on. So I'll just mark it and then notch it. You can use as much as I used 10 for this, you can use as much as 7 and increase the other parts of your measurements. You understand? So you can use as much as 7, depends on what you want. So please, not your clothes, so you know when you open it. Look at this one. Now that I've opened it, I went to place the material on that part that I notched. So it depends on what you want. Okay. Look at it. At this point, you can just, when you are done folding it up, just cut. So at that point, I didn't cut my armhole for the front. I want you to see the difference now. Look at the way the armhole looks after I've already cut that 1/2 inch. Now when I open it, just look at it, looks like a J that is not straight. Okay, so for the back, this is just the normal back measurement. I just marked 1.5 inch for my zip allowance. Then I got my half length. That's what I'm marking now. I'm marking my half length. So I'll just rule out my half length so I can cut it out. Why I'm using half length is because this is a dress, it's not a top. So I'm marking my neck, the same neck I used for the front, 3. I marked 3 for the width, and for the depth I'm not using the same depth. I'm using 2 for the depth for the back of this neck. So see where my zip allowance is, so I marked it at 1.5. So I didn't mark my neck. I started marking my neck on that 1.5. Look at where I placed my tape, and I'm marking my shoulder now. That same 8 I used, that's what the one I used for the front measurement, that's the same thing I'm using for the back measurement. I'll still use 8.5 for the armhole. So I just rule and then curve again. If you want to use your armhole curve, you can still use it. So that's almost all. I'm just taking my 1/2 inch for my shoulder slant, just like I did for the front. Look at that point where I touched now is where my neck started. So that's it. So I'll start from my zip allowance to take my body measurement. For my zip allowance, I'm not starting before it, so I'm not starting at the edge of that material. I'm starting on my zip allowance, please. So when I'm done closing up, I'll just cut my material with the measurements. So that's it. The back is ready. It's so ready. Okay, so I'll be marking my darts. If you have to know your dart, or know the dart that is more convenient for you. For this person's dart, the dart is 4 inches for the width, and for the back, you know that anytime you're cutting the back, you measure 9. Some people use 10, but I used 9. From 9 down, that's how much you measure your dart. You start from your neck to measure to 9 inches. So this is how the back looks like. I'll be placing the front on it. Look at the front for one side, look at the front for this other side. Now before you join at the shoulder, you have to join here that I'm touching. You have to join it so it doesn't shift up and down. So this is all for this clothes.